Hello, Steeler Nation, and welcome to day 2 of the Steeler Nation Draft Show. Super happy to have you. I also have my co-host tonight, Colton Gesser, who's going to be joining me here quickly, turning on his video, and I'll show you us both together. Thank you very much, Colton Gesser of the Personal Foul Podcast. We are always blessed to have you since you're a big friend of Steeler Nation, and we love having you on the show.
Well, I'm talking Steeler football with Stryker, man. Come on now. Nothing better to do on draft night.
Right? Day 2, I'm rocking the bow tie. I'm hoping the bow tie gives us some good luck today. That is, unless my beard eats it. My beard is definitely doesn't let me show off the bow tie as much as I normally do. But I'm ready for the draft on day 2. I know you're ready for the draft on day 2. I know Steeler Nation is psyched. We picked up one of the biggest needs that we had because we did not have a starting caliber running back. It would have been a running back by committee. Now, after day 1, Najee Harris is a Steeler, and we have a starting caliber running back. I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, I barely slept last night. I took like a 3-hour nap. I edited all the videos. I didn't do anything.
I mean, when we first started that puppy last night, we talked about what we're looking for, what we wanted at 24.
Yeah,
we got him. You know, the teams in front of us didn't take him. Arizona was kind of rumored in late in on Najee, Dolphins, Jets, and next when you saw some trades, Jets trade up, get their guard from USC. Dolphins get the defensive end from the U, and there's our guy sitting there at 24. And I kind of started to question a little bit. I know you were on with Kevin at first, and you guys were talking, so I wasn't able to chime in on it. And I was starting to see some of these linemen fall, and it's like, oh, man, they might go one of these tackles. They're sitting there, and they shouldn't be here kind of thing. And Pittsburgh stuck with their gut. The rumors were out there. They were going Harris if he was there. And they stuck to it, man. They took their guy, and I'm pumped to have him, man. I can't wait to see him in the black and gold.
Me as well. And obviously, since that need has been met, we now have a situation where there are only 2 other spots, in my opinion, that really need a chance or for someone to fill in as a starter. And one of those slots, center. I think that's a big need on offense. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of great centers right now at this point in the draft for day 2. This might be the time we take one. The other one, according to my list of still needing a starter on the depth chart, would be cornerback, nickel corner. So in my ideal situation, I would like them to go center for the first pick, go nickel corner with the next pick. What are your thoughts, and how would you like to see the draft going this way? I also wouldn't mind if they did a wild card. They got a good tight end. If Fairmouth's available in the second, I think you might have to pull the trigger on him just because of his skill set. But I'd be fine going tight end and corner or tight end and center, any of those 3 positions. But for me specifically, center, corner is my target.
I think perfect draft for Pittsburgh. They got their running back, and there's been a lot of question. Is it the right pick? Because they do have other needs on the offensive line. If they're to somehow to get Dickerson or Creed Humphrey from Oklahoma, I think the Steelers hit a home run in the first 2 rounds. If there's one of those corners that are sitting there that shouldn't be there that late in the second round, the Steelers might pull the trigger on it. And if they think he's more of an outside guy, they might slide Sutton back inside where he does have some practice, and he played there a little bit with Mike Hilton when they switched in and out in the nickel spot. So I have to agree with you. You got to go one of those 2 spots. And I think they do. And again, perfect situations. They get one of those centers in Creed Humphrey or Dickerson. And I think it's a great draft for Pittsburgh the first 2 rounds. And the rest is cake.
Lock it up.
What else they do?
Well, because then in the most part, like we're saying, like those are the only spots, in my opinion, that we needed starters or that we needed a big upgrade at starter. Everything else is fairly, much in line and mostly depth help. I mean, you've already got some starters assigned on tight end, left tackle, right tackle with Chooks and Zach Banner. We're going to have to ride or die with them, in my opinion, I think, when we're starting off the season, and hopefully they're going to be playing at a high level. But outside of that, we definitely need depth at all 3 of those positions as the draft moves on. Also, outside linebacker, there's 0 depth really behind TJ and Highsmith, who was nice enough to start off our show yesterday. Love you, Highsmith. Hope you're enjoying the second day of the draft as much as we are. But But yeah, I'm super psyched to see how they are going to address those positions, because there is a chance that the Steelers could go edge if somebody crazy drops to them in the second pick, or they could go tackle if they see somebody that's like a first rounder in their eyes. You know, you don't know how it's going to go, but at least cementing wise, I think we're on the same page. We know center's a big thing. We know corner's a big thing. We know tackle's a big thing. And we get some of those positions locked up, tight end as well. Then this team's looking a heck of a lot better than I was feeling it was looking, coming into this just a few short weeks ago, as we lost a lot of people in free agency this year.
For sure. And I still wouldn't cut out the idea of free agency for another corner. There's still a decent amount out there. I kind of thought Steven Nelson, the way he wanted out right away, I kind of assumed like, all right, he's going to get picked up right away. Yeah, he's still sitting there in free agency. I saw some people messing with him. What's it like being a free agent? He goes, I love it. So I think he's enjoying his time. I like him. Love him back.
He's got to love it, because he made the wrong choice. He screwed up. He's like, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get cut. And I left some dead money. I already got paid that money. I'm getting double paid. And look what happens. There's nobody wanted to spend on corners this year. Nobody wanted to spend on wide receivers this year.
And you saw it. You saw with Mike Hilton. We saw with our guy Hilton. We kind of, it's like one of those, why couldn't they keep him? Like, it wasn't much. I was kind of expecting a lot more from Mike Hilton's price tag. You really didn't get much more. So maybe they can go in. I'm not saying Sherman's the guy they're going to get, but there's a bunch of corners. Look at the list. There's a ton of corners still available on the market. Yeah. So I could see that even being an opportunity. Like I said, the Steelers always kind of touch on some players that they need to address in the draft. Figure Kalen Balazs, BJ Finney, two positions they kind of needed, that running back and center. They kind of touched at those, so they'll see what's available. And like we said, Creed Humphrey, Dickerson, there's a really good opportunities for Pittsburgh to hit a home run on this draft early on. And they have other opportunities. They filled their holes. So if there's a guy, like you mentioned, that shouldn't be there, I'm going to take him.
Yeah, definitely. And we're getting some nice chat here from Steeler Nation on our social media platforms. Mike Stifler making fun of me here off of Twitter. I thought Stryker was going a little more casual until that beard moved. Laughing emoji with the tears coming out. Thanks very much for giving it to me there, Stifler. I'll be seeing you soon, bro. Watt also chiming in off of Twitter. Now Humphrey, Dickerson, or Meerts, and we at least stuffed a hole in the O-line. And I also like your idea there. Your second tweet out to us, tweet comment, Asante Samuel Jr. would be a great as a cornerback. I would love that pick. Not going to lie. I also wouldn't mind if we picked up a guy like Elijah Molden. That's a guy I'm really high on. He looks like a Mike Hilton type, heavy thumper, not super fast, but willing to make the play, willing to play hard, and just a guy that can possibly even provide some blitz help like Hilton did as well, being able to get those tackles for losses and playing in the backfield a bit. So lots of fun to be had there. Yeah, we see you there, Robert. Who's getting drafted from Houston today there, Robert? We see you're here.
The Cougars, baby, Cougars.
Yeah, that's the now I just saw a picture. Whose mom was that just got shown that somebody was drafted? They showed a picture of their mother. That was on Steeler Nation. Now I sound terrible. I was going to make a Cougar reference. Now it just sounds creepy. I'm done. I'm just going to drop it. So instead of talking about creepy things, I want to at least throw to, before we have Job Morrison, I know Job's waiting in the waiting room for us as well. We're going to have him on here pretty shortly. But right now I wanted to throw it back to cornerback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bryant McFadden, in part 2 of his 3-part interview that we did yesterday. Wanted to air that right now for all Steeler Nation to enjoy. So the both of you and I will turn off our cameras so they can see the great Bryant McFadden and I discuss what it was like for him to play as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Hello, Steeler Nation, and we are back with Bryant McFadden in the interview that we started. And today we get to know a little bit more about you as a Pittsburgh Steeler, because I loved watching you playing for the Steelers. And the first thing I want to ask you I know one of the biggest plays that you had was in the AFC, I think it was championship round game against the Colts. You were defending Reggie Wayne at the end of the game to make sure that they didn't get a touchdown down there and had to kick that long field goal. Now, the one time, if I'm remembering this correctly, I think you were going down on the play, but you still had the wherewithal to get your foot up in the air and make the play and break up the pass with your foot. And am I remembering that right? Is that something you actually did?
Well, a little bit. I think I used every limb that was associated with my body to come up with that pass breakup. Actually, that was the divisional round against the Colts.
Yes.
That was right after Jerome fumbled the football after Big Ben and that shoestring tackle. You know, we had to go right back on the football field and try to, defend the turf. Worst case scenario for the Colts, they would settle for a field goal.
Yeah.
But we knew they would probably try to take a shot. And they came at the only rookie who was on the football field.
Right.
And I was that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, when I think of it and I look at it, I was playing against a Hall of Fame quarterback and a soon-to-be, at some point in time, a Hall of Fame wide receiver, Reggie Wayne. Yeah. And I just didn't want to let the team down. The RCA Dome at that time, that was the dome we were playing in with the Colts that were at home field. Everything became silent. I didn't hear nothing.
Wow.
When I know the football was in the air, I didn't want to screw it up. I was able to do what I was supposed to do, which was break up that pass. Like you said, I used every part of my body, including my leg on the way going down, just swinging and kicking.
Yes.
But I was successful in doing so, and that's a play that clearly I would never forget because that led to us winning that ball game. You know, in the rest of history, we were able to win Super Bowl 40.
Just as impactful, in my opinion, as that shoestring tackle is the Bryant McFadden leg coming up and making that big play too. So loved watching that. And so great too, you did mention it was your rookie season, and your rookie season, what do? But you go to the Super Bowl. What was it like being a rookie and then going with this team of veterans on this ride to the Super Bowl?
It was a surreal feeling. I thought I was supposed to go to the Super Bowl every year because that's all I knew. I didn't know how hard it was to get to that point. You know what I mean? So me personally, as a rookie, just leaving Florida State, getting drafted, becoming a rookie, and then going to straight to Super Bowl, I thought, hey, we do this every year. You know what I mean?
Right.
But through time, I came to the realization that you don't go to Super Bowl every year, but just get into that moment, man. You know what? It seems to mean more to me now than it did because in that time, I was actually still involved in the moment. Yeah. But now when I watch, Super Bowls now, when I watch Super Bowls now and I see how big of an event it is, it takes me back to my past experiences and I appreciate them even more. You know what I mean? So it's a blessing. I like being considered an outlier when I'm around different people. And, sometimes people talk to me about winning the Super Bowl. Years later, we're right back at the promised land again.
Nice. I know it. Like you said, it's difficult. You think it's difficult to get there, or easy to get the Super Bowl. You almost got there just about a couple years later there, 2008, returning to the Super Bowl again. And was it different for you than coming and playing in the Super Bowl the second time than it was for you the first time?
It was different. I knew what to expect. I knew how to handle ticket requests. I knew how to handle the week of. Best way for me to explain the difference in year one and playing the Super Bowl compared to the second time is like, traveling to a foreign place the first time. You know what I mean? Going back to that foreign place years later, you kind of know what to expect. You kind of know where to have fun or how to have fun. You know what I mean? So that was the experience the second time around. So, and if I was to compare the Super Bowls, I always go with the first. The first experience is always the one you can remember the most. You know what I mean? Because it's the first time.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your Super Bowl moments here for Friday for the draft. Where is Steeler Nation able to see you? Are you going to be reporting for CBS Sports today? Where are you going to be?
Yeah, no question. Follow me on all social media outlets. The same handle name, BMAC_Sports Talk, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Clubhouse as well. Follow me on CBS Sports HQ, detailing everything that you guys will see throughout this weekend, draft related, and then getting ready for this upcoming season, fantasy football, input, gambling insights as well. And then check me out on my podcast that I'm the co-host of with my cousin Patrick Peterson called All Things Covered. If you like listening to podcasts, check us out. If you like watching podcasts, check us out on YouTube.com. Just YouTube.com/All Things Covered is where you can find us. some of the former Steeler guests we've had on, Mel Blount, Jerome Bettis, Mike Tomlin, Juju Smith-Schuster. So, yes, I definitely show a lot of love to my Steeler alum.
Steeler Nation, show your love. Make sure to go out there and check out Bryant McFadden in all his formats. Check out his podcast. And thank you once again, Bryant, for lending your time over for the Steeler Nation Draft Show.
Thank you for having me.
And Steeler Nation, always great to hear from Bryant McFadden. I'm going to allow Joe Morrison's going to be joining us here, as well as Colton Gesser. We'll be coming back as well. Thank you, Colton. Great interview. Always great talking to Bryant McFadden and hearing his perspective on what it was like being a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Always great here from B-Mac. Always.
You were able to hear that, Job?
I didn't tune in till the tail end of it.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
But I guess we're having some technical difficulties on our multi-stream for some reason. We are not getting a clean stream into Facebook. So I'm checking up on that now as we're talking. Colton, I would like you to talk about how yesterday's draft went, what positions went, obviously, that were the most impactful, and what value would you see for people drafting in the second round for the talent that is left?
Well, there's some really good receivers left. We said kind of going into this thing, receivers were really deep in this draft. Elijah Moore still sitting there from Ole Miss. Terrence Marshall still there from LSU. Draft's deep at receiver for a reason. That's why I kind of thought it was stupid for Cincinnati to go out and draft Jamar Chase with the offensive line needs. But to be fair for Cincinnati now, offensive line is still deep in this draft, and I think it's going to go hot and fast really early in the second round here. I think tackles are going to fly off the board, and I think it's going to be really fast. You got some really, really good ones there. Jalen Mayfield from Michigan still there. Tavon Jenkins from Oklahoma State still there. And we got our surprise of the draft. I thought Trey Lance was a surprise to me at 3. And Mac Jones falls to New England at 15. There was kind of thoughts New England was going to have to trade up to get him. It fell right to their lap, just like Najee did for Pittsburgh. So to be fair, New England got lucky. I think Pittsburgh got lucky with Najee sitting there at 24 as well.
Nice. And Job, I know you're the stats guy. I know you've been following a lot of who was drafted and when. So what is your stats perspective on the analytics for best positions available to draft?
Absolutely. So yesterday we saw a lot of, I kind of put edge and defensive end together because a lot of the guys that were drafted at defensive end could convert to edge type of deal. So I kind of grouped those together, and we had 7 total in the first round. The only ones that weren't really selected were interior defensive line and, of course, special teams. But what I thought was interesting was no safety was selected.
Wow.
And only 1 tight end. And so far, when I look at my numbers, the only positions that didn't have a double-digit average spot value were quarterback, which makes sense. All of them were in the top 15. And tight end, it was just that 1 at 4. So tight ends are definitely, I think, scarce in this draft. And they're either highly valued like Kyle Pitts was, or we may see them tumble even more.
Wow. So coming up, I know Jacksonville's first on the clock today. What are Jacksonville's biggest needs after drafting a quarterback first in the draft yesterday?
I think they've got to I think they can go either way with either getting some help around Trevor Lawrence and kind of beefing that up. I mean, we saw that with the running back position, which Colton, I think you agree, that was a very intriguing move, seeing as they had I think you'd mentioned, reminded me yesterday, actually, that they had that undrafted free agent who did well. And then they also signed Carlos Hyde.
Yep.
So it wouldn't surprise me to see them go more defense and kind of start to work on that as well. But I think offensive line is also an area of need that they can definitely, it wouldn't hurt for them to invest in.
Very nice. And I see we're having some issues here streaming to Facebook. I'm currently trying to figure out a way to add the channel back as we're talking. It looks like we might have to pause the broadcast for a second so I can get the channel up and we can re-hit then for the Steeler Nation and get that on here. Because right now it's just giving me some issues being able to do this on the fly. So we're going to sign off here quickly, Steeler Nation. We will be back up in 5 minutes with the Facebook's feed with us as well. So bear with us, grab a beer, be ready for day 2, because we're all ready to cheer and cheers the new Pittsburgh Steelers coming here to join us on the team this wonderful Friday night.